Hey everyone, it's Donna from Donna's Corn Free Cooking, and I'm finally back with you guys. It's been a couple of weeks since my last video, but this last surgery on my hand has really been a trial. So today what I am going to do is answer a question that a viewer had about what are my reactions when I have an attack, or I eat something or get around something that has corn in it. Well, here's the one thing you need to remember. Everybody's body is different, and how they react is going to be different. Now for me, my reactions at first, until I got my liver cleansed and got away from everything that had corn derivatives, generally my nose would swell up, my mouth would itch, my tongue would swell, and generally I would go into an asthma attack. And fortunately for me, because of the asthma, due to all the other pollen allergies, I was able to use my inhalers, which helped to stop the reaction. Now, since that time, I have cleansed my liver out several times. I do it once or twice a year. And because of that, when I do have a reaction, it's usually very minor. And what happens then is my nose swells shut, and I can't breathe through my nose, and I just start feeling really rotten. So what I generally do is, if I'm eating something that I don't know has a corn derivative in it, and I start plugging up and I can't breathe, I immediately stop eating whatever it is. And then I just go and kind of relax and settle down until it goes away. Now, here is what I had an allergist tell me and what I had found in some of my research about an allergy attack. I was told, and I have read, that an allergy attack can take up to 4 hours before it even hits. Now for me, it's generally immediate. So if I eat something and I think that it might be iffy, but I'm not really reacting, I watch myself for any signs of anything, like my nose plugging up, having difficulty breathing, swelling around my face or my mouth or anything, up until after that 4 hours, because then generally you're fine. I had not believed that it could take that long to have a reaction, but it is true. It can take up to 4 hours before you even show any signs. So after 4 hours, if I'm not reacting, I think, okay, I'm doing good. But you can't do that for, everyone's body is so different that you have to figure out, when you've had a reaction, you need to note down what those specific reactions were. And then you know what to look for if you come in contact with something or ingest something that could have a corn derivative. Now, when I was going to the allergist, and he kept saying that he wanted me to eat corn once a month, and I actually told him he was crazy, because everyone knows that if you ingest something you're allergic to, generally you're going to go into anaphylactic shock. For some reason in his mind, he seemed to think of it like other things I've seen. Your body will just get used to it and then you won't have a problem. Well, that's not the way a food allergen works. And the other allergist, the original one I saw, and the reason I stopped seeing him was because he retired, but he told me that the reason I reacted to corn the way I did was because of it being in everything. And because of that, instead of eating it like once a week or once a month, you're getting bombarded every single day, all day long, with everything you put in your mouth. And he informed me that my body could not deal with it anymore. That was why I went into the reaction I did and almost died. So it's a case of if you're not eating something all the time, then chances of becoming allergic for me are minute. But because of the modification, and I truly believe that this is the issue of why people are becoming so allergic to foods, is the modifications that they have done to certain vegetables to produce more. And because of that, there are several that I'm allergic to that have been modified, just like the corn. So I, in my heart, believe that it is the modification of the vegetables. And it's very frustrating because foods that you used to be able to enjoy going out and picking in the garden, if you eat them, you can die. It's just ridiculous. But for me, like I said, because of the cleanses that I do every 6 months or whatever, I have gotten my reactions down to a minimum. And this is because once you cleanse your liver, you're pulling all those allergens and pollutants out of your liver. It cleanses the liver, and then it's like starting over. And so a lot of times I've accidentally ingested something and I didn't react at all. But I think that is just due, and I'm saying this is my thoughts, due to the fact of the liver cleanses. Now, when you have a reaction, you got to know exactly what is a reaction that could be allergic, or if you're just intolerant. Intolerant is usually digestive problems. And I know a lot of people that have that, like people who are lactose intolerant. But when you have a true food allergy, it always affects your respiratory system. And for me, having a nebulizer in the house because of my asthma is, for me, a lifesaver, especially where I live. I live at least 12 miles from the nearest hospital. And if I was to have a major attack, I could possibly die before the ambulance could get here. But because I have my nebulizer, generally, if my nose doesn't plug up, but I start having breathing problems, I immediately will go in and use my nebulizer. So it's different for everyone. I can't say, well, you're going to react this way or you're going to react that way. It's your body. You have to judge when you're having an attack and when you're not, or even if you're starting to have symptoms. My thing is, if I'm starting to have a symptom and I'm eating something that I don't know could have corn in it, just stop eating it immediately and then take whatever measures you need to either prevent the attack from going any further. As I said, they say it takes up to 4 hours to have an allergic reaction, which means you could eat it but not react to it till 4 hours later. And then you're sitting there wondering, well, I'm not eating anything, why am I having an attack? But that's just a piece of knowledge that I was given by the allergist I was seeing and by the information I looked up online. And as I've said before, to give you an example of an immediate allergic reaction, when I was in the hospital, I was in there for AFib. And the doctors, they're all residents, and we had one main doctor who I just adored. And he was very understanding about my corn allergy. I mean, they could not even bring sanitizer into the rooms because I can't even breathe. I immediately go into an asthma attack just breathing the hand sanitizer. Alcohol pads, any of that. They could not even clean the floors because it would cause me to go into a reaction with the chemicals they used. So they had to use a different type of cleaner. But I was so hungry, and I knew in my heart that the foods processed in the cafeteria were generally processed with corn. But I thought I would take a chance. I was so hungry. I had not eaten for 2 days. And they said they had hamburgers that day. So I said, okay, I would like to have one. I was in there eating this hamburger. I took 2 small bites. And I immediately could not breathe. And the tech that was doing my vitals, I said, I can't breathe, I'm having a reaction. Every resident that had been taking care of me was in that room in 2 minutes, and they gave me all the appropriate treatments to stop the attack. Well, it just goes to show you can't trust anything, even in the hospital. And I've said it before, hospital food is the worst because everything is processed. And so that was a lesson for me. Don't even, either have your husband bring it from home or just don't eat, because the risk was so great, even in the hospital environment. The one resident was scared to death. I think he thought I was going to die, but I didn't. They took care of it immediately, and I was fine. But this is what I'm saying. You don't know how your body's going to react. And for me at that time, it was, I could not breathe. I was so swollen that quick within 2 bites. And so, it's up to you to just keep watching yourself, to note anytime you have symptoms, note them, write them down. And then that way you have them to refer to if someone says, well, what kind of a reaction you have, because that's the one thing they always ask me. And I have a list with all of my allergies on it, and under that list, it states exactly every reaction I have. And it is vital that you have that list with you for anything you have to have done medically, and even dental. Eye doctors. I just make sure they have a list of all of this, because even though they're food allergies, especially corn, their derivatives are in eye creams, they're in eye drops, they're in your medications, your creams that you have to use. They're there. And if you are allergic to corn, you can't use them, and they have to try to find alternatives. And that list, the minute they ask me, I just hand them the list. Anytime I've had any procedures, they get the list. And I save it on my computer, and so then all I do is print it out when I need one. Plus I carry one in my purse. But as I said before, I hope this helps you in trying to figure out what reactions you could and could not have. It's just how your body does. I would put down whatever your first reaction was, that could have been one that was dominant every time you have a reaction. But note them down. That way and if you're unsure, you can go look at it and say, oh yeah, I'm having a reaction to that. I've been doing this for almost 17 years, and it's just become an old hat to me. I just, if I start feeling cloggy or wheezy, and I've been eating something that I know I shouldn't have, I'll know. immediately that I'm starting to have an attack, and so I stop whatever it is I'm doing and then just have myself sit around or just relax until it goes away. If it goes into an asthma attack, I immediately hit that nebulizer, and that thing has been a lifesaver for me. But as I said before, you never know what your reactions are because your body is so different. Your body's different from mine. Mine's different from everybody else's. So how you react is something you need to just watch and determine. But as I said before, generally for me, it's the first sign is my nose swells shut. And it's better than having my throat and tongue swelling as it did the very first time. Let's just put it that way. So I'm hoping this will help you a little bit and help you see what it is you need to do to watch yourself. But the main thing you can do is read your labels. Make sure you convert everything you eat from what you used to eat. It's a process, but boy is it worth it because you live healthier, you feel better. Once you cleanse out that liver, you would be surprised at how much better you will feel and how you won't react as often. And I've noticed that because before I reacted to everything all the time. But now I don't react as often. And if I do react, it's not as bad as it used to be. So until next time, guys, I'll be doing a beautiful dessert for you guys on my next video. So until then, take care. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm trying to make sure I answer them the best that I can and help you to get through this journey. So till next time, bye.